Life can be tricky, making us ask, what was that? Join host Jan Murray and her guests as they explore the that's of life. Welcome to Life After That.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Life After That. I'm Jan Murray, your host, and today we are welcoming Grant Trevarthen back to the show, and he will pick up right where he left off, where he's beginning to talk about right after his beloved wife Clare passed away from amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, and how they decided to not have a funeral but a celebration of life.
It was a hell of a party. I wore my best Hawaiian shirt, my shorts, my slops. We had about 80 people here. We had the champagne going, the beers. We had a party. We had a party for Claire. But that day that she passed away, we went to watch the sunset, the kids and myself. And we came home. Now, it was dark. In the living room where she sat in a wheelchair, there was a lamp next to it. I walked through to the bedroom, and I just said, you know what, honey? Give me a sign. Give me something. You're okay. You made it to the other side. And I see this flashing going on behind me. I'm like, what on earth is that? Back in the living room. So I walk back there, and here's the lamp where she sat, going on, off, on, off, on, off. Even my daughter came through from the kitchen, and she even said that, you know, that lamp has never done that. And we actually have a video footage of this because we had a camera over that area.
Oh, wow.
My daughter stairs came and she's like, what's happening with the lamp? You know, what's going on? And I'm like, yeah, that's mom, yeah. and it actually happened. What happened multiple times, but even when my sister came out for the celebration of life party, which we had a month later, she came in from England. I picked her up at the airport. I came through, and as we came through the living room, I said, well, this is Claire's lamp. If you see it flashing, don't worry about it. It's just Claire. And lo and behold, the lamp starts flashing.
Oh, wow.
We put this on camera. It's like, oh my goodness, yeah.
That's
so
awesome.
we have had so many contacts with Claire in all different aspects of, I mentioned the guy, Matt Fraser, the psychic medium. A lot of people are like, okay, well, he knows a thing or two. And it just so happened, we came back from South Africa and he was here in Dallas. And I thought, hey, I'm going to go up and see this guy in Dallas. And, all the kids, we want to come. Okay, let's make a whole thing of it. We'll drive up to Dallas. We'll stay in the hotel. And we were in the auditorium, probably 600, 700, 800 people in there. And we were actually upstairs in the balcony. So we're like, there's no way we're going to get a reading up here. And right at the end, he says, you know what, hang on, he's going to go upstairs and do, see who's upstairs there in this auditorium. And he comes up there and he looks around, and he looks over to us and he walks over to us and he's like, your mother's here.
Oh, wow.
And we're like, me skeptical, and I'm like, well, here I'm sitting with 3 kids while
there's no mother.
Water,
That's the natural thing you would say. Yeah.
Yeah, of course, it doesn't take rocket science. And then he started. And the things that he said that immediately goes to breathing. She couldn't breathe. And she was surprised that she passed away so soon, that she thought she would last longer. We ordered, you all think you're going to last a few years. And how she thought she would pass away, that she wasn't coming home from hospital. We had 2 hospital visits, and we came very close because they were giving her Zyrloff for anxiety, which dropped her sodium level, that we thought she wasn't going to make it. And he just started rattling stuff off. And one of the surprising things was, he said how she was so impressed how we looked after her on this military-like schedule. And guess where the schedule came from? I was in the Navy. One of my jobs was to do scheduling for shifts and things like that. I actually, with the kids, we had a 24/7 shift, and I
Mm-hmm.
based it on military schedule. So many hours on, so
And he
many
had
off.
no
So
way of knowing any of that, did he?
you didn't know that. No, no. And, and just it went on and on, that we were all blown away by this. Just when we went visiting in South Africa on vacation, we went to the beautiful game farm and out in the middle of nowhere in the bushes. And I'm walking outside. It's just before dinner time. And again, I'm like, honey, I know you're here with me. I know their presence is here. And I said, just give me a sign, give me something. And I walked back inside. I sat down at the dinner table. Dinner was being served. What starts playing on the radio? Our wedding song.
Oh, wow.
I've never heard it play. It from 1996. And our wedding song, just it.
I believe it.
We
I
were
believe
talking
it.
about, the for the people that what Joe Dispenza. I don't know if you ever heard of him, Dr. Joe Dispenza. He wrote the book, and I also encourage people to read that, is You Are the Placebo. So what got me going was Neurone. You probably heard about the Neurone stem cell treatment and all the controversy going there.
Yeah.
And they spoke about the placebo group doing so well that it kind of diluted the results. And I said, okay, what about the placebo effect? Everybody knows about the placebo effect. So that got me going down that rabbit hole, which I came up onto his book, You Are the Placebo. And I read that book. This is while Claire's still, we trying to get on top of this ALS.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started watching all the testimonials on YouTube on people, most of them with cancer, on the power of the mind,
Right.
what the brain can do, that. And we were never able to go to anything because of COVID. So Claire did start a lot of meditations, but I carried on. I've carried on with the meditations. And it's not meditating just to feel good and to relax. That's a passive, I think they call it passive meditation. I'm not sure what the name is. But the meditation that he teaches you, or you teach yourself eventually, is to connect, to change things in your life.
Mm-hmm.
It's something people can explore by themselves, but it's a wonderful thing.
Interesting.
And you probably know more, I don't know, to what happens in the afterlife. Where do you go? What really happens out there?
Right.
And last week, I decided I'm taking my travel trailer. I'm going down to the beach. Right in Port Aransas, I don't know if you know Texas, little Corpus Christi, you can camp right
My brother
on the beach.
used to live down that way, so I'm familiar with some of it. Yeah.
I mean, we are off-grid, as they call it. I'm right on the beach. And it is the worst weather possible. The wind was howling, there was storms coming through, whatever. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to meditate for a week. I'm going to do meditation and see where this goes. And I connected with Claire.
Yay.
You can. People say, I haven't dreamt of their loved one.
Right. You see that, and you read that a lot in the widow groups too.
I haven't dreamt. And they're looking outside. Why haven't they come to me in my dream? Don't look outside, look within. It is
You
us.
had a great dream recently. I saw your post.
Oh, that was, yes.
I read that.
I dream of Claire every week, multiple times. Every week. It's just nonstop. But it's what you have to do from within.
Mm-hmm.
Don't look outside. They're not visiting me. They are visiting you. We're not groomed. Raise your frequency. Raise your frequency in life. Stop. I disconnected my TV, my Dish Network. I don't want that anymore. I don't watch
I still
the
have
news.
my TV, but I understand exactly
I
what you're
watch
saying.
YouTube. I watch YouTube. I watch,
Yeah.
something, Netflix I've got. But as far as the news and all that nonsense,
I don't watch
forget it.
that. I watch documentaries or something that means something
Yeah.
to me. That's pretty
Yeah.
much what I do.
Right.
Yeah.
Raise your frequency that you're living in,
Mm-hmm.
and you will see magic will happen.
Mm-hmm.
You will start, if you want to have those dreams of your loved ones and things. The other night, I said to my dad, I was like, and I joke a lot nowadays. I'm like, where have you been? Why haven't you come to me in a dream? Did I piss you off? Did I do something? Yeah, upset you, whatever. And lo and behold, I'll have a big elaborate dream, and I'll record all my dreams now too. That, and this is how you get better at it, at remembering the dreams. And, I'll record up to 4 dreams a night that, when I wake up, don't get up, don't go to the toilet, don't record it or write it down. And the more you do it, the more you'll dream of it. And last week, you say that post of me with Claire that I went and sat on the bench.
Yes.
And she just loved me. The love, it's indescribable.
Yeah.
Just a passionate hug. And the kiss she gave me, just unbelievable.
It made me happy to read that. It was a great post.
Last week, my experience knocked that out the park. I walked with Claire. I danced with Claire. I spoke to Claire. She acknowledged. Even I bought her some flowers 2 weeks ago. I'm still like that. Yeah, because I didn't miss the Valentine's thing, but the prices are crazy. I'm like, I'll buy you flowers another time. So I bought her flowers. And it's through meditation. It's through meditation, not just a dream. It's now intentionally going in there, raising your frequency, that you see things and experience things that you wouldn't else experience. And I just, people might think, oh, Grant's gone crazy. Yeah, he's maybe smoking some stuff or whatever. But I tell you what.
I think people don't go through the things we've been through, and they don't understand. That's the way I see it.
Yeah. There's a whole world out there that is all around us all the time. Yeah,
and I think God, in His goodness, actually allows us to see those things that we're ready to see. And some people probably are not ready to see. I think you have to be ready. Correct. I actually have a psychic friend. He's actually a friend, and he's from Alabama, but he is in California, and he's a psychic intuitive, he calls himself, to actually quite a few people in California, including some famous people. But I met him because I interviewed him for a news story years ago, and that's how I got to know him. And I actually messaged him one night. I said, so Bill's sister said she had this wonderful dream, and God allowed him to visit her, and he hugged her, and everything was fine. And I was so mad. I was like, he hasn't visited me. I don't understand why he's visiting his sister, and he hasn't visited me. What the hell? And he got really quiet, and basically he said, he's very busy on the other side, and you're not quite ready.
Absolutely.
Okay. And
you can make yourself ready.
Yeah, and it wasn't long after that I started noticing 4:13 on the clock. Again, 4:13 is my date of birth, for April 13th.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, it would make perfect sense for him to try to connect with me with something I would notice. So I will wake up at 4:13 a.m. for no reason. There it is on the clock. I may be driving somewhere, and that'll be the time on the clock. Or it'll show up in other ways. And so it's got where now when it shows up, I'm like, hey, Bill, I miss you. I'm glad you're here, And for the last few weeks, the numbers haven't come up anywhere in any shape, form, or fashion. And I'm thinking, why aren't you coming around? I don't get it. I guess you are busy.
Oh, yeah.
Now, as of today, I was at work, and I don't know, 20 something appointments today. Super busy. I was tired. And I looked up, and right there on my computer screen, 4:13. I'm like, finally,
13.
you're back. It's about time you're back. In my birthday week, you better come.
Yeah.
So I
You
hope
know,
he's around, because I'm going. I live about 2 hours north of the Gulf of Mexico, Panama City Beach, Fort Walton, Destin, those areas. So,
yeah.
but I'm driving down into the peninsula of Florida this weekend. I'm going to Crystal River, Florida, to dive and swim with manatees.
Nice.
And
Very nice.
it's a bucket list. I've been slowly going and checking off bucket lists, and I'm going to do that this weekend. And
yeah,
so it's something that he thought we would do together at some point. We had talked about it in our marriage, never did. So I hope he'll be there. I have this ring. I don't know if you can see that. It's blurry, I think.
Oh, there we go.
See it?
I saw. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the one thing,
fingerprints.
The one finger that he could still move was his right thumb. So after his death, I had an impression taken of his thumb before he was cremated. And then his thumbprint is engraved all the way around that band. So I wear that. Yeah. So when
my kid said that, mate, too. Yeah.
Yeah. So when I went skydiving, I took him with me, and he'll go with me to swim with the manatees. And I've gone on lots of other adventures too. So I always wear my ring. So,
yeah. You know, a funny thing happened to me yesterday. My dad always kind of taught me, always stop to pick up that penny. You know, whether it's one penny, I will always pick up the penny. And, you know, I've picked up pennies here and there. And the weird part is that since Clare passed away, it's been blown out of all proportion. I am picking up pennies all over the place. Now, you think, now, they're not going to physically leave you a penny, obviously, but there's something, I believe, in the mind that you're walking out there, something tells you, look down. You know, you look down, there's a penny. Yeah. And yesterday, and I have got a string of them, a few dozen now. I mean, it's just ridiculous how many I'm picking up.
Well, and you're more aware, and I think that's what happened to me. We become more aware, so we see that, which was probably already there. We just weren't aware.
Oh, they're always there. I mean, people are dropping pennies all over the place.
Yeah, but I mean, we're not aware of the other connections that we are aware now, so we see those things better now. And I'm sure that people think I'm cuckoo too sometimes. I don't talk about this a lot. I do on the podcast. And but I don't know
what happens yesterday.
Believe me or not, I know what I experienced.
Well, this is it. So I got to Home Depot yesterday. Day before. Saturday, I think, whatever. And I walk out of Home Depot, and I'm walking across the parking lot, look down, and there's a penny, but there's this really beat up, mutilated penny. I mean, it's been through the walls, this penny. And I pick it up, and I'm like, really, honey? I'm like, look at this penny. This is a sad looking penny. So anyway, I keep walking, probably another 30, 40 yards. My car's on the other side of the parking lot. And I look down again, and what do I see? A brand new, shiny penny on the ground.
Another, it's after you complain.
After I complain about this beat up penny, it's like almost like, okay, well, here's a brand new. I mean, this penny is like it was made yesterday. It's just brand new. I just laughed. I'm like, really?
That's funny. I love it.
Just funny things like that. But you know, it even to know, I connect with Clare a lot in all sense. It just the energy that I get that goes through my body. I mean, I physically jerk and shake. You know, there's a physical reaction that I have, which I've never had. You know, just energy.
Well, you can't destroy energy. Our energy stays here. So
that is it. I mean, it's a beautiful thing. It doesn't make it any easier. You know, I feel, I mean, like we all feel, especially at our prime, you know, when we purchased this house, we were the beginning of our retirement, or the semi-retirement. As I said, we didn't have a mortgage payment. It's, you know, if we didn't feel like working today, we didn't have to work. that's what the plan was. We were going to buy that RV or travel trailer or whatever. We'd sold our old one, and we were going to go start traveling. We had already, after when we went to Canada to get that visa, we had already booked and paid for our first trip. We were going through Dubai, we were going to Cape Town, we were going all over the place. It was booked and paid for already. That's how close we came to the semi-retirement. And it just feels that's been ripped away.
Right. That's what gets me as well. I mean, the dreams and the things and the plans went away. And,
the future.
I'm turning 61 Thursday. And I have no idea if I ever get to actually retire, because all of my financial stability went away. And we did go into medical bankruptcy before he died. And everything about my future just changed. So, but I keep, as he told me to do, I keep on keeping on, and that's what I'll keep on doing.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not ashamed to admit that I planned ahead, because I heard people talk about this as a bankruptcy disease.
Yeah.
So, in Texas, your homestead is protected no matter what. Nobody can touch your homestead. So when we sold our old home and we bought the new home, yes, we're mortgage free, beautiful house. You know what? Guess what? It's protected. So everything else, that's what they call bankruptcy. In fact, the day she passed, it not that even that was hard enough. That morning, I actually had my bankruptcy hearing. It was a stressful day.
Sure.
Of our bankruptcy, because I'd learned to use the system. Whether it's taking food stamps, whether it doesn't matter, whether it's for energy assistance or pay utility bills, swallow your pride and protect yourself.
Right.
Protect yourself. What I looked at it, when we went to Canada, we had money in the bank. Like I said, we had 2 years of money in the bank. We had money for the kids' college. We had, both daughters had to pull. They were about to go to UT to college. They had to pull out because they didn't know if mom and dad were coming home again.
Right.
So that's it. Then when we got home, we couldn't send them to UT. We had to send them to ACC Community College because we didn't know where the next paycheck was coming from.
Right.
And, and financially, that's a lot better thing because it's a 10% of what you're paying at college. People don't want to admit it, but it's a stigma. Ooh, you went to community college. Ooh,
I send my university students to community college during the summer because it's half the price of where I work.
Yeah. Ours was 10% of the price. So there was a lot of swallowing pride, but I also looked ahead and said, what do we need to do to survive this? Not only, for me, but for the kids as well. And, quite frankly, I would do it all again.
You did what you had, like I said before, you did what you had to do to survive.
You do it.
And
Absolutely.
If it weren't for people reaching out and helping us, we had a GoFundMe or 2 or 3 maybe. I'm not sure what we would have done without, help. And his last, the last few years, he had his Social Security, disability. I stayed home to take care of him because somebody had to do it, and home health care costs too much. So eventually I actually had to put Bill in a nursing home because my health was suffering. And once he got there and I wasn't trying to lift him every day, I was able to go back to a journalism job. He flourished. I mean, it was in a great place. I was there every day. I was able to work, and life was actually pretty normal there for a couple of years. But then he really went downhill very quickly, and I left that job so I could be with him. And it wasn't too long after that when he passed. And then it was like I had to regroup very quickly because I was like, okay, my job's gone that I just gave up. What am I going to do? So I just reinvented myself again, started a different career, and here I am.
Well,
So
Yeah.
here I am. I'm
Yeah.
going to swim with manatees Saturday. I held rattlesnakes 2 weeks ago. I'm always
Rattlesnakes.
doing
Oh my
something.
goodness.
Always doing
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
So,
No, it's been a journey. It's been a blessing in a lot of ways. I see the good. I try and, I've always been the person, is the glass half full, half empty.
mhm.
I try and look at the positive. As I say, I don't want to go out and party. It still hurts. It hurts like hell.
Oh yeah, and you're only a year
But
out, for goodness sakes.
yeah, but I have a good understanding, and it gives me great comfort to know that Claire's right here. Right, I mean,
And she's
all the
not
time.
sick
Whenever
if she's in heaven or whatnot. She's not sick, and luckily she's able to
no,
visit with
not
you.
at all. Yeah,
Yeah, that's how I say about
we've
Bill. He's not
spoken.
sick.
We've spoken to a couple of psychic people, by chance actually, and the one lady said to me, she said, "Oh, it was a friend of mine. We in South Africa. I didn't know that his wife, never met her, but she's gifted." And she just said she's got a message that Claire said she can run again, but she's not going to run a marathon anytime soon. Now, that doesn't sound anything special, but if you know Claire, we used to run at Orange Theory and that. She was never a gifted runner. It was always a battle to run. Mm-hmm. So she could run. It was not at the top of the list. So that's exactly something she would say. She can run again, but she's not going to be running a marathon anytime soon. I understood that. It's like, wow, where did that come from? I've had so many contacts. And like I say, after last week, when I can sit and walk through the house and talk and dance with her, and we walked around the top of Table Mountain. We walked it a few times around and spoke, and people think, that's not possible. Believe me, it's possible. If you want it to be possible, it is possible, because our loved ones are with us all the time. We miss them. They don't miss us. They're with us.
They're perfectly happy, and they're around anyway. So
absolutely. Absolutely. And like I say, I'm not one to go to the church, every week. Things have changed.
I stopped for a couple of years, but like I said, I found it's called Our Safe Harbor Church, and I found online. I knew who the minister was, and I really love it. And so I watch online, listen to it online every week and midweek, and actually going to go visit they're on a sound stage in Nashville. I'm going to visit at the end of the month. And it's finally, I feel like I found a church home, because all the traditional churches, I love all the people and they're wonderful and sweet, but it didn't fit where my mind or my heart or my spirit is anymore. And like I said, I got more open, more liberal thinking. I mean, I still believe in God and Christ and what he gave and all that, but I believe the mark is being missed in terms that we have too many rules, and it's not about the rules. So I have changed a lot. I have, and that transformation started probably after year 1, probably year 2 and 3. I started realizing, I don't fit this place anymore. This place, this isn't who I am anymore. And I'm very comfortable with who I am now. So,
And mine changed right at Claire's passing. I mean, even maybe a few months before, once I started reading, and the more you look and the more you open you are to looking.
Have you read any of Eben, E-B-E-N, Alexander's books? He's a neurologist. You need to read his books. It's by Eben, E-B-E-N, Alexander. Just look him up.
Okay.
I have all of them on Audible, because I lay there and listen to them when I'm going to sleep.
Oh, I do that too. Audible.
Yeah. I mean, his books, actually the minister of the church that I now attend via online actually wrote about that book and how it really made him rethink about some things. And so I said, so I went and got it. And this guy, I can't remember now what happened to him, but he wound up in a coma. But the thing is, being a neurologist, I think he was already an atheist or something. But
Okay.
he started realizing, hey, there really is something out there, and
There's something out there. Yeah.
it's really, really good. And he's written 2 or 3 books. And the first book I think he wrote, I think is my favorite. But I have them all on Audible. I think it's a good one to do, good one to read.
I just encourage people to have an open mind.
Have an open mind. That's the thing. Don't be afraid of questioning and looking and searching.
Things. Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe in most of what the Bible says. I haven't read the whole Bible, but I've been brought up Christian. But I do also say that when man is involved.
Thank you. This is a whole nother podcast show right here.
That is correct. Things go awry and manipulated to the agendas, and and like you said, another podcast. And
there is definitely more to it. And that's another reason I also like the church I'm part of it. He does what his name is Patrick Mead. And he does a Monday morning message. And if you go on YouTube and you look up Our Safe Harbor Church and you look up the Monday morning messages, like literally the last couple of years, he addresses all of those hard topics and why that's not really what was meant and why it's not that way or why it is that way. Recently, he did a series on hell, and I don't believe there is a hell, and he doesn't either. And I was just...
No.
Really, he doesn't believe. I finally found, and see, I've been following him for 15 or 16 years. But I was like, oh, wow, I need to hear more. And so I found that I found that church thinks more the way that I do now since I've transformed. And he just addresses lots of answers. I guess this morning's message was about, who told you church has to be on the first day of the week? It's like, who told you this? It's great. And he talks about how that all was just really a political...
I'd like to get that information because I'm the same. I don't believe there's a hell. Not the way the
eternal torture.
Right.
Because that goes against the character of God. It really does. I mean, he might annihilate someone who is inherently evil and just is not going to reform. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I know. You're still going to,
you got to be, you still got to pay for things. But some people might not, But in Revelation, it says every knee will bow. Well, I believe that, but doesn't mean someone's actually going to want to follow. So maybe they just leave existence. I can't imagine the God that we love sending someone to eternal torture. No.
I think a lot of us are going to be surprised when we get there. Like, how the hell did you get here? Like, what? Huh? Why are you here?
Exactly.
Now, I always say, a real bad person may not be sitting at the right hand of the Father at the dinner table, but you might have to start off in the basement. But no.
You may have a chance to fix things at least to a point. I think there's a lot of grace out there, and we're all gonna find out there was way more grace than we thought. I've changed a lot. So we've actually gone right on into your second episode talking about things that have happened since, and it sounds like you've been on a big transformation, very much like me. And you're not the only one, and I'm not the only one. There's actually been other episodes that I don't think all of them are streaming. I'm taping these quite a few months in advance, and a lot of people feel this way. We're not alone. Not alone, and I'm not ashamed.
But my experiences that I had, like I said, I went camping last week, and the weather was extremely bad, and I'm grateful for that, because my experience that I had and the time I spent doing meditations, raising my frequency, and the experiences that it gave me are just out of this world, just unbelievable. the love that I felt was, I'd hate to say, in a lot of them, I was crying like a baby with love. It's absolute divine love.
Well, in the
It
Bible,
was beautiful.
Jesus meditated, the disciples meditated, prophets meditated. When they went to
It was
commune with God, they
beautiful.
went to the mountaintops and they did these things. Why
Yeah.
would we think it would be any different now?
Yeah. Just, that experience, it's like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
To have, not that I want to be overwhelmed with connecting with Claire, but I just know she's around me all the time.
Of
It's
course.
so,
And
it's
I'm sure
so,
she wants you to live and continue your life here
oh,
until it's your turn
absolutely.
to
And
cross over.
I intend to. I
Yeah,
intend
same
to,
here. And that's why I do what I do. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I intend, to live my life to the fullest, to
Yeah.
enjoy it, to do everything I want to do, to knock out that bucket list,
Yeah. And
to
that's what I
carry
do.
on.
I put mine on
Yeah,
Facebook the other day with my little check marks.
yeah. It's sad because I was supposed to have gone over to Europe, to Spain with Claire's dad. I loved her dad. And Claire passed away in March of last year. Just over a year ago now. Her mom wasn't well. Their parents came out in December, just before she passed for Christmas. Her mom passed away mid-December. They were in England. And I was planning, I called the dad and I said, listen, come out, come visit us, come, we're going to do things. He was fit and healthy in the 70s. He passed away January. Heart attack.
So both her parents
three,
have passed since her.
all three of them gone, within a year. And that was sad because I really got on well with the dad. My dad's passed away, and he was planning to come out here. Everything was just a go. Would have been good to have him here, for as long as he wanted to stay.
Mm-hmm.
And all that came to a sudden end. So, what do they call it? A widow's syndrome.
Yeah.
Is that what they call it? Widow's syndrome?
It's something like that. And there are, people die of a broken heart. One dies and the other one dies shortly thereafter.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I think, as far as from a kid's side, I think they okay. At least the discussions I've had with them, they seem fine.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what goes on within.
Yeah, I was going to ask, how are the kids doing? Because they're you have one that's in the late teens, or?
No, he's turning 21.
21. Okay.
Yeah. It's amazing, going back to when we were thrown out the country in Canada and all that, all bets off. I call my kids, if you ever want a good fake driver's license, ask a teenager. I call my kids up like,
probably.
yeah. I call my kids up. I need a fake driver's license. Where's the bet? What's the bet? Okay, go here, go there, whatever.
My gosh.
I'm renting cars with a fake driver's license.
Oh my gosh. You had to do what you had to do.
Oh, you don't care anymore. My mom hates me for this, but I said, Mom, I don't care. Don't sweat the small stuff anymore. I need a fake driver's license to drive. That's what I need. Get a fake driver's license. I went to South Africa, renting cars, going places on a fake license. Now in America, you can't drive on a fake driver's license. Do that, but you can pretty much do everything else.
But now your life is back normal, right? I mean, are you still under a green card? I'm not familiar with how
I am. Yeah, in 2 years I can get my citizenship. But everything from being so upside down, everything turned to be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
All the miracles that happened, everything went perfect, excepting Claire's health deteriorated. That her symptoms started in that December. I think it was March, we got our green card. And once we got the green card, everything was perfect. So everything went so well but yet her health, that was the price to pay.
Right.
That, that was the only, the miracles along the way. I actually made a list of them the other day. These multiple miracles that we would call a miracle that happened through the journey. Unexplained. Why was it just meant to be? The universe. This was.
I call it divine intervention.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
There was so much divine intervention through the whole journey. Like I said, going back to when I got my visa in South Africa, that should not have happened. Starting from that,
I'm so glad that it did.
All these, it just changed everything. And it was a journey.
I just think your journey's been amazing, and I'm also very amazed at how far you've come in such a short period of time. But I think your openness and your willingness to go forward, but also to recognize your connections, I think that has a lot to do with how well you're doing as well.
Yeah.
It took me longer to get there, but I'm there now. I feel good. I feel good about everything now. I'm good.
Yeah.
We'll go ahead and start winding down. I wanted to ask you, I guess, a final question, really. This podcast right now is downloaded and listened to in 17 countries as of today, which is April 10th, 2023.
Very nice.
17 countries, including South Africa, by the way.
Very nice.
Yeah, that's one of the countries. I keep up with my analytics to see where people are when they're listening. The UK is a big listener. There's quite a few people downloading over in the UK. France, Canada has a lot, US. Some other countries, a couple that I honestly didn't even know there were countries. But when you said South Africa, I was like, cool. Somebody downloads there every single time I put up an episode. There's been dozens of episodes downloaded from that country. So we actually have people listening from everywhere. So when you think about that and the disease and the different ways it treats people, what would you, as you're 1 year out now, what would you say to those who are about to go through what you and I have already been through? What would you tell them to do to get through the ending and to continue on afterwards?
To get to the ending, be prepared. Be one step ahead of the disease all the way. Don't, we're just going to let it run its course and so you're playing defense. You must play the offense all the way through. Be prepared emotionally, financially, in all aspects, like even down to voice banking, just everything. Be prepared, be one step ahead. We know where it's going. In 99.9% of cases, you don't know how long it's going to go.
Right.
Try and be the loving wife or the loving husband every now and again, which is difficult because you're so immersed in being the caregiver,
right,
that you forget to be that loving wife and husband. And once that's taken away, then you realize. So, try and incorporate that in. After the fact, the heartache doesn't stop. It just changes. It just changes form. Because, when you're going through this, you've got that heartache. And once your loved one is gone, it's a different heartache. Then there's, you've got to regroup. And that may last longer than the actual disease, through the progression of the disease. I don't know whether it's better to have it go 10 years or 1 year.
I don't either.
I don't know, but after the fact, my saving grace, and I can honestly say this, was starting off with those 2 books that my sister told me about years ago that I thought she was smoking something. Destiny of Souls, by Michael Newton, let's say. Journey of Souls. That opened the door. And if you have an open mind, that helped me a lot. Just to know your loved one hasn't gone anywhere.
I have to look that up.
You know, they have not gone anywhere. They are right there with us, and that's got me through. That gets me through every day. Just to know that, the loved one is still with us. What is the Newton's law? Energy can never be created or destroyed. It merely
That's
changes
right.
from one form to another.
That's it.
Merely changes, and so they haven't gone anywhere. That's how I live, and you know what? Don't sweat the small stuff anymore. Suddenly, you have a different perspective on life.
You really do. Yeah.
Yeah.
You really do. I had someone tell me today, they're like, I'm just trying to tread water and stay alive every day. And you're out here doing all this wild stuff. I looked at her and I said, life is too short. I've lost too much. I'm done with all that.
Absolutely.
I'm going to live. I seek joy and I don't look back. I try not to look back. Yeah.
Yeah. One of my weird changes that I've had is just becoming connected with Earth. I've never been a tree hugger. I've never been a tree hugger, but for whatever reason, we had a big ice storm come through, and I had to chop down a tree. You know that I actually apologized to it before.
Well, I tell my students sometimes to take off their shoes and walk in the grass and get grounded back to earth. They looked at me like I was crazy. I said, no, I'm not kidding, guys. It really makes a difference. It gives you a different kind of energy. Take off your shoes and go walk in the grass and just close your eyes and breathe in the air. Because one of the things in one of my classes, we talk about the stress and the time management and them dealing with being away from home. And I'm like, go outside, close your eyes, take off your shoes and feel the grass. And they were just like, she's crazy. But it works. It does something to you. It does.
All the time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And meditation. I mean, me of all people, if you'd said to me a couple of years ago, I'm going to be doing meditation, I get up at 4:30 every morning. I do 2 hours of meditation, on average. This last week I did 8 hours a day. That got me to that level. That got me to the level of where I went. And like I say, I won't talk about everything because people think I'm smoking something, but it's the meditation is a wonderful thing.
Yeah, and even if you just meditate, I mean, sometimes, especially if I can't sleep, I'll get insomnia. I will tell Alexa, I love Alexa. I have my little Alexa. Yeah. Alexa, I can't sleep. Help me meditate. And she'll play music and has guided meditation. And I'll lay there and just do that just to get connected with what I need, so I can go to sleep.
Yeah.
So there's different forms and levels of the meditation. But I think your advice is very good. And I just want to thank you for coming and being open and willing to share everything that you all went through before and during and now that you're experiencing after. Hopefully it can help others. And that's my goal with the podcast, is to help others either going through this, or I also hope that some caretakers and medical people actually listen to this at some point so they know where we're all coming from, because everybody's stories are similar but also very different. And I just really hope it helps other people.
There is another thing that I found out real quick is that and we probably all know this, that neurologists, I've got I've got all the respect for them. They're very intelligent people. They're very good up to the point of diagnosis. Once you've been diagnosed, you're on your own.
They kind of write you off. All of them do. They write you off.
Don't, you're on your own. They've diagnosed you, leave the office, and
they're done.
Because, when people go back, they just get bad news every time.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, we grieve. When you go through ALS, you're grieving every day because there's some sort of loss every day. And it can take a bit to get over all that. And some of it you don't ever get over. But I think the key, I think I found it. I think you found it even really early. You keep reaching forward, you keep living, and you realize that you're still connected in certain ways. And you just keep going. Absolutely. I mean, you keep searching for that next thing. And that's what I'm doing. So.
Yeah. Right.
Well, I want to thank you once again. Thank you so much for coming on. And
No, thank you for having me and sharing this. It's been great. And
absolutely.
share my story. I'm sure that, there's many more stories out there of the challenges. And, it's not something you wish on anybody or even your worst enemy.
I was going to say, I always say, don't wish this on your worst enemy ever.
No,
I'd rather him have been diagnosed with cancer than ALS. At least with cancer, you've got some kind of hope.
You've got a fighting chance. Yeah.
With ALS, you don't, not in this day and time.
And you can never say, I can never do that, because I used to be the type of person that when you walk through the parking lot and you see somebody paralyzed in a chair, let alone completely paralyzed, I can't do that. There's no way I can do that. And here I am, here we were, you're looking after the wife, and it was only a pleasure. I would do it all over again.
Oh, I don't know if I would or not. No, I would have done anything for him, but I really don't ever want to be in the position to have to do it again.
No, I don't. But, for my wife, only a pleasure. It was only a pleasure looking after her.
Well, because, and that she would have done the same for you. Yeah. You don't. You don't.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully what we've shared can help some others, and that's where we're going to end it today. And thanks once again.